Rafael Devers is trying to make a statement about his position with the Boston Red Sox after he went off for a big series against the Kansas City Royals.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday straight to your favorite podcast feed, and it's completely free, so you might as well continue to tune in because Locked On is here for you every single day with the latest on your favorite teams. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Happy Monday. Unfortunately, it is back to the beginning of the week, but the Red Sox made it a little bit more bearable on this Monday as they did record a big series win against the Royals over the weekend. Not to mention the Celtics earned a big win in Game 3 against the Knicks on Saturday. Game 4 of that series tonight. Highly anticipate it to be crazy, but hopefully the Celtics can get a win again and we can keep these Boston sports wins coming. But the biggest thing with the Red Sox lately is that things have looked a little bit better. Now, these last couple series for them have definitely been a mix of a lot of different things. And in the series against the Royals, you had Game 1, which was a 0-0 game all the way up until extra innings. Both teams scored one run in the 10th, and then the Royals eventually walked it off in the 12th inning for a 2-1 win. So obviously just a pitching masterpiece on both sides in that game. And Game 2 was an offensive slaughter by the Red Sox as they won 10-1, with Rafael Devers being a huge part of that. And then in Game 3, the Red Sox took a close 3-1 victory over the Royals. So we kind of saw a little bit of a mix of everything in this series. And I'm going to be talking a lot about Rafael Devers on today's show, as well as Lucas Giolito, who pitched an absolute masterpiece on Sunday in the series finale, and going to be talking about the injury to Romy Gonzalez and Nick Sogard getting called up to take his place, as well as the first base depth for the Red Sox. So obviously on Friday's show, I discussed Rafael Devers and the thoughts between him and the Red Sox organization about the idea of him moving to first base. And basically, it's a situation where, yes, the front office has not handled anything well at all when it comes to Devers. Definitely did not handle the fact that they were going to move him to DH in the first place the way that they should have, because in his head, he thought he was still playing third. Then Bregman gets here, and the Red Sox all of a sudden say, by the way, hang up your glove because you're the DH. Now Tristan Casas gets injured, and the Red Sox brought up the fact of moving to first base to him. And Devers says, no, thank you. Basically, I'm not interested. If they do want me to move there, I definitely cannot do it now because there's a transition involved. And I see both sides of it because on one hand, I see what Devers is saying about being incredibly frustrated and feeling a little bit insulted with the Red Sox basically saying, oh, we didn't want your defense before, so we wanted you to play DH. Now we're back into a corner. Somebody's hurt. So by the way, get your glove and pick it up again because you're playing first base. So I see that side of it, but I also see the front office's side in that, yes, they handled it poorly at the beginning, but now they're just in a situation where they don't have a choice, really. It's not like they're saying, okay, we change our mind, we're going to have Devers play first because we feel like it. This is, your first baseman is out for the season, and the lack of first base depth in the organization makes it a little bit tough. So the Red Sox were saying, maybe Devers could move to first. But among all of that, and Rafael Devers making a big statement about the Red Sox front office last week, he had a big series against the Royals over the weekend. And part of you wonders, what that was sparked by, because in what I've seen from him over these last few days, he's definitely playing with a sense of fire and a sense of, hey, I'm here. I'm your designated hitter, and I want to make a statement. And I almost felt like his performance in this entire series in Kansas City was him making a statement to the Red Sox organization saying, hey, if you want to move me, go ahead, but I'm going to make it as difficult as possible for you to make that decision to move me because I am thriving here as a DH. And the reason I like that a lot is because the Red Sox could say, hey, he's really finding his groove as a designated hitter. We just moved him there. He's finally swallowing that pill of playing defense, and he's accepting the fact that he's not going to be a defender on this team and he's not going to be playing in the field. So he's hitting well, knowing that his focus is on hitting. So why should we move him? And I almost feel like that was the mindset that Devers wanted to plant in the front office's heads. Now, when the Red Sox lost in walk-off fashion in 12 innings, 2-1 in the opening game of the series on Friday, he went 1 for 5 in that game. But Saturday's game was really when things were clicking for Devers because he went 4 for 4 with a walk, drove in 3 runs, and scored a run himself. So he was on base every time he was at the plate. And that was a huge game for him. He just looked so confident out there. He was pretty much hitting whatever came his way. And it became very frustrating for Royals starting pitcher Ragans because he could not figure out what to throw to Devers because he was just hitting everything. And it was really nice to see him have that type of game after what went down last week. Then we go into Sunday when the Red Sox won 3-1. In that game, he went 2 for 3, including a go-ahead 2-run homer in the game, and he also took a walk. So big series for him, lots of impactful moments for Devers. He ended up going ultimately 6 for 7 in the 2 wins over KC this weekend. And a double against Cole Ragans was one of the impactful hits he had on top of, like I mentioned, the go-ahead run homer that ultimately ended up being the game winner and 5 total RBIs over the course of those 2 days. So he certainly was able to quiet a lot of the negativity about that refusal to play first base by doing just an excellent job as a DH. It still doesn't feel as though things are necessarily perfect between Devers and the team. From Thursday, when he basically let loose on Craig Breslow, the chief baseball officer, all the way up until Sunday when he was hopping on a happy flight to Detroit, it's really hard to imagine that his stance has softened all that much about the first base situation. But when you think about Devers and you think about the type of player that he is, when he's on, he's really on. And he's going to produce. And he really has produced a lot this season. And he does have numbers that kind of skewed his overall stats from earlier on in the season because he had that really horrific 0 for 19 skid to start the season this year. So it really feels like if you just look at his stats that he's playing a lot worse than he is, but he really is contributing a lot. He is the most reliable offensive player on the team right now, which is exactly what we need from Devers. He is the guy they are paying that much money to be here and be the heart and soul of the team. And he is doing exactly that. And that's so promising and much needed for the Red Sox. So because of the fact that he's been hitting so well lately, for context, after going on that brutal stretch in March to begin the season, he's batting .311 with a .954 OPS over 36 games. So he truly has been doing a lot offensively, and you may never know it just by looking at his stats for the season. So that all being said, is there a chance Rafael Devers gets traded at this point? Absolutely not. I mean, there has been speculation about the fact that the Red Sox could try to trade Devers because of all the frustration that has kind of surmounted between him and the front office. But I am telling you, that is just so unlikely to actually happen. the Red Sox would have very little leverage in a trade because of the fact that it would come across like, we kind of have to trade him because he doesn't want to be here anymore. And there's frustration there. So they would likely need to take back a significant chunk of salary remaining in order to get anything close to fair value in a trade. So already it's not even set up to be a good trade because of that. But in terms of the other reason why he shouldn't be traded, I mean, think about it. Think about how much value the Red Sox would lose. This is one of the best hitters in the sport. And like I said, hands down, that he is going to produce for you. And again, some of the frustration could be a little bit overblown in terms of what he has actually said and what's been misconstrued by people a little bit. But I definitely do feel like there is frustration there overall because he didn't like how they handled the situation. But instead of moping about it, he went out there and he made a statement in this weekend series. And he said, you know what? I'm going to silence all the haters and all the noise, and I'm just going to go out there and do my job as the DH. And that is certainly what he did. And he showed Red Sox Nation that trading him would be a complete blow on the Red Sox organization, and it would be a massive hole in the Red Sox lineup. And let's just think about it for a second. Say the Red Sox were to try to even shop a trade. Imagine how bad that would look on the Red Sox front office. For a team that has emphasized wanting to contend in 2025, if you are trying to trade your franchise player, the guy who you are trying to build around consistently, that really sends a negative message to everybody of, we're folding it in the towel because we don't feel like we can compete this season and we're trading Rafael Devers, who ultimately is the best player on the team. So definitely not going to happen. And if you thought there was a chance before this weekend, there certainly is not a chance now because he went off and had a huge series for the Red Sox. Definitely was the biggest story of the series because people weren't sure how he was going to perform and what he was going to do at the plate after all of this drama and the little debacle that took place late last week. So I'm really happy for him. Happy he went off, and I'm happy that he was able to show Red Sox fans and the media and everybody involved with the organization, hey, I'm still here and I'm the DH and I'm going to still be one of the best hitters in the sport. And coming up, another guy on a mission is Lucas Giolito, and he certainly had a good start, great bounce back in his outing on Sunday. So I'm going to be talking about that next. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? I know that can be such a super scary feeling to not be able to keep track of your money. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's so easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. You know what I really like about them? I had these subscription services that I wasn't even aware that I had. And since I've used Monarch Money, that has all been completely eliminated because they help shed light on some of the things that I was paying for that I didn't even know I was paying for. And it has really helped me to manage my money a lot better. So if you're worried about maybe having some transactions or regular payments that you're making that you don't even know about, that is where Monarch Money can save your life. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. This truly is a lifesaver for me, and it absolutely can be for you as well. The Boston Red Sox are coming off of a very strong series win against the Kansas City Royals on the road. And the biggest key is just to win series. They're not going to win every single game. They're going to have games where they don't play well. They're going to have games where their starting pitcher might not have it, the bullpen might blow it, or the offense isn't able to hit. That's going to happen. It's just the nature of the sport. There are so many games and so many different circumstances that take place. But if they are focusing on putting their best foot forward every single day and focusing on winning series, that is what is going to get them to the playoffs. And I saw a Red Sox team this weekend that played like they could be a genuine contender, a team that was clicking on a lot of different cylinders. And if you think about it, they held the Royals to only 4 runs in the entire series. And that is a huge credit to the pitching. And one of the pitchers that was a huge part of that was Lucas Giolito, who pitched in the series finale on Sunday and got the win. He went 6 2/3 innings, giving up 2 hits and just 1 run, but it was an unearned run. He walked 1 and struck out 5. He ended up throwing 88 pitches total, with 59 of them going for strikes. And his ERA is now down to a 4.96. And it's very exciting for him and his confidence, because this was his big win and first one since 2023, because his last outing was a disaster and he was not able to really get it together much at all on the mound, didn't have a whole lot of good stuff. His first outing, he got no decision. So his first big league wins in 2023 and his big one that we will look at the end of the season and say, wow, hopefully that's what got Giolito going, and definitely a big win for him. So he gave the Red Sox exactly what they needed in the rubber match. 6 2/3 innings of 1-run ball, holding the Royals to just 2 hits while walking 1 and striking out 5. And it ended up securing the series win for the Red Sox and a major boost of confidence for him. He actually said after the outing, I think today was a big step forward. I feel like now it's 100% healthy. There's no worry about anything with the hamstring or the elbow or anything like that. Getting into my good rhythm and routine, but today's a good one to build on. Throughout the game, his dominance progressively flashed. Casey's only run against Giolito came from a throwing error in the 4th inning, which created a rally-threatening jam that ultimately he ended up guiding the team out of. Plus, he only threw 24 pitches in the final 2 2/3 innings before the bullpen took over in the 7th frame. And the biggest thing was his arsenal. In his last outing that caused him a lot of trouble, he was primarily only relying on his fastball and his changeup. And his fastball velo was not high enough for him to do that effectively and find success with it. His fastball velo was at about 92 to 93 in his last outing, and he had the changeup. And those were basically the only 2 pitches that he was throwing. He had 2 pitches total that he didn't use either one of those. And it was just tough because the Rangers were able to pick up on it pretty easily. So I said after that outing, this will not be sustainable. He has to either increase his velocity or increase his arsenal and start using more pitches. And he kind of did both, because his fastball velo hit 95 in Sunday's outing, which was really nice to see. And there were just a lot of mishit balls. And from the get-go, he was totally in control in this outing. The fastball certainly played and was working really well for him. But the mix of the pitches was what did it. He also incorporated a slider and a curveball in the outing on Sunday that helped him be a lot more effective, because he did have those pitches in his arsenal, but really was not using them at all. And it was frustrating because I wanted to see him utilize those pitches more because they're solid pitches. And I said, wow, we know that the fastball and the changeup are there for him, but why not mix in the slider and the curveball a little bit more? And he definitely threw the changeup too, wasn't as solid with it as he was in his last outing, but because he was also mixing in the sliders and the curveballs on Sunday, it helped him to be a lot more effective and find a lot more success on Sunday. In the last few days, too, prior to Sunday, the Red Sox had been pretty banged up in the bullpen, especially because Friday night, when the Red Sox went to 12 innings, they used virtually everybody. They used every single reliever in that pen except for Liam Hendriks on Friday night. So being able to get solid starts was key. They ended up getting a really solid start from Garrett Crochet on Saturday, and then Giolito gave them everything that they needed to allow the pen to not have to be overused. And it's just great to see him bouncing back in that way, because this is a guy who I actually spoke to in Worcester after he made a rehab start there. And he was just so hungry to get back out there. He really wanted to prove to Red Sox Nation that he could be a guy that they could be proud of and be excited about being on this team. He was so determined in that regard. And for him to go and get his first win since the 2023 season, hopefully that serves as a huge momentum builder for him. It required a lot more work behind the scenes, though, than a lot of people would think. He's a 9-year veteran and revealed that his pitch arsenal was his premier focus before going up against the Royals that day. He said going in with just 2 pitches, it's not really going to cut it in this league. So we got to work. We made a lot of adjustments with the slider. A lot of credit to Andrew Bailey and Chris Holt helping me out with that the last 3 days. And it turned into a real weapon. So we utilized that today. A lot more sliders, curveballs, and Carlos Narvaez is fantastic behind home plate again, just calling all the right pitches and locations. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if they just try to ensure that Narvaez catches for Giolito every time he's out there, because those two were working really well together on Sunday and they were really feeling each other and they were in sync, and Giolito really did not have many trip ups at all in the outing. He just looked like he was in total control. And the biggest thing is that he just needs to continue to utilize that arsenal that he has up his sleeve for solid pitches that he can throw to opposing hitters to make sure that he's staying competitive. So now there becomes a question of what happens with the rotation, because Walker Buehler is getting close to coming back to the team. Alex Cora revealed that it would likely be during the next homestand when they play likely the Mets a week from today, because they do start the homestand this weekend where they go up against the Braves. But Cora said it wouldn't be in that series, probably the next one against the Mets, where he would be activated and rejoining the rotation. So the question then is going to be, who leaves the rotation? And the obvious answer here is unfortunately Hunter Dobbins, because he has been absolutely dominant on the big league team. But it's going to be a really hard choice for the Red Sox to say, yeah, we're sending him back to AAA. But they always saw him as a temporary option for the guys who they see as being key pieces in the rotation. So, for example, Walker Buehler, Garrett Crochet, Lucas Giolito, Brian Bayo, and Tanner Houck, that was what they envisioned to be the starting rotation before the season. And I don't really see them saying to a guy like Tanner Houck or Brian Bayo, you have to go down to AAA. This start yesterday was huge for Giolito, because I think if he had another mess of an outing like he had in his last one, the Red Sox may have considered sending him down to work on things a little bit and keeping Dobbins in the rotation, because Hunter Dobbins has been outstanding. I mean, he has just been so impressive for this Red Sox team. And he actually pitched in the series as well, in the series opener on Friday when the Red Sox ended up losing in extras. But Dobbins provided 6 innings, giving up 5 hits and no runs, and he struck out 6. He has a great arsenal that he has been putting on display so far, and I have seen nothing but impressive outings from him so far in his time with the big league team. So the fact that Giolito had a really good bounce back outing on Sunday, and he now recognizes what he needs to do and what works for him in order to apply that moving forward, it's going to be tough for the Red Sox to make that decision. I do think ultimately Dobbins ends up back down in AAA, but that's not to say he won't come back. I think he's always going to be that first man up if somebody were to get hurt moving forward as the season progresses in the rotation. And I do think the pitching that he does, and the more that he continues to pitch very well, the better chance he'll have to become a more permanent fixture in the rotation later on. So I truly do feel like Dobbins is somebody who's on the fast track to success. And I do think that he, along with Richard Fitz, are guys who could really implant themselves in the Red Sox rotation moving forward. But I do think when Walker Buehler gets reactivated, he gets sent back down to AAA now that the Red Sox have a little bit more of a restored faith in Lucas Giolito after the bounce back outing he had. But we'll see. And speaking of injuries, Romy Gonzalez is injured, and Nick Sogard has been called up to take his spot. So I'm going to be talking about that a little bit next. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. I actually love the no shells variety because that one is the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. And we all have busy days. I mean, I have days where I'm running around working all day and then I have to go and do something else. Like maybe I have to go cover a Woo Sox game, for example, at night, but I'm doing another job during the day and I don't really have a lot of time to eat in between. And sometimes I do forget to eat a lot during the day. So if I only have time for a quick snack, these are great because they really give you a healthy option and they're also addicting and they taste very good. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Once I started buying these at the store, I have not looked back since. So make sure that you purchase them the next time that you are there because I promise you, when I say these things are addicting, they very much are. The Red Sox recorded a 2-1 series win over the Kansas City Royals. They lost the first game in extra innings, but then won on Saturday and Sunday. The Red Sox are getting very good at losing the first game of the series and then winning the second two. And again, like I said, the goal is to win the series every time. If they are losing the first game every time, but they're winning the second two, that's fine by me. I don't care when that one loss happens as long as they're winning the series. And that's what they need to make a habit of continuing, because if they continue to win series on a consistent basis, they will be a playoff team. And while there's been a lot of frustration regarding the roster and the Red Sox not playing their best set of players at all times, which I do agree with. I think they can be doing a lot better when it comes to roster rearranging. They did face a tough blow at first base when Tristan Casas got injured, so they've been trying to kind of make ends meet there, and they were platooning between Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro, but Romy Gonzalez is now on the IL. 10-day injured list with a left quad contusion, retroactive to May 8th. So because he was placed on the injured list, they said, okay, we have to have somebody else alongside Abraham Toro. So they called up Nick Sogard from AAA Worcester, who primarily plays second base, but has played a few games at first in AAA. So he's going to be splitting time with Toro, but Toro's going to be getting the primary workload at first, at least until Romy comes back. Sogard was in the starting lineup Saturday against Cole Reagans. He went 1 for 4 in that game with a walk and a run scored in Boston's 10-1 win. And then in Sunday's 3-1 win, he was in the lineup again, and he went 0 for 4 in that game with a strikeout. Now, Alex Cora talked about it a little bit after they placed Romy on the IL and replaced him with Sogard, and he says it's a short-term thing. He said that he wasn't bouncing back the way that the Red Sox had expected early, so that it makes sense just to take care of him and he'll be all right. But it doesn't sound like they're expecting Romy to be out for a while. So Sogard likely is not going to be up in the majors for very long. He will go back down to Worcester once Romy is healthy and is able to be activated again. So Romy was hitting .308 in 17 games after replacing Casas, who unfortunately is out for the year with a ruptured tendon in his left knee. And Gonzalez has an OPS of .785. So he had been hitting well before he got injured. Sogard's season debut was Saturday after hitting 188 in 28 games with Worcester. His OPS is .562. He hit 273 in 31 games with Boston in 2024. So essentially in Worcester this year, 188 average, .562 OPS, 273 over 31 games in the majors last year. He did get an opportunity in the majors last year because, again, due to injuries and the Red Sox having to make ends meet. So the thing that the Red Sox like about Sogard is that he is a good defender. He was making some nice plays in the field in the couple games that he played in. And the plan is to mix and match with him and Toro. So we'll have to see how that goes. Obviously, it's not an ideal situation for the Red Sox. But again, none of this is. They're in a situation where they don't really have a choice because first base is not exactly a position that they have a lot of depth in. And obviously there was no way at all to know that Tristan Casas was going to end up getting sidelined for the season with an injury. And when it comes to this Devers first base thing, I think the team now is more likely to search for an external option closer to the trade deadline, try to see if they could put together a package that they feel is fair to acquire a reliable first baseman. And then I don't think we see Toro with the major league club at that point. I think the Red Sox see the combination of Toro and Romy as a little bit of a sustainable combo in the short term, not necessarily Sogard and Toro. That's going to be incredibly short-lived. Once Romy is healthy, Sogard will go back down. But I think they see that combo because of how well Romy had been hitting, that they feel like that combo of Toro and Romy can be reliable at first base. And then if you get closer to the trade deadline, maybe they say, okay, Toro isn't exactly doing everything that we wanted him to do, so we're going to send him back down to Worcester, and we are going to try and acquire a first baseman that can be more of the everyday guy, and then put Romy back into more of a utility type of role. But for right now, this is what we're working with. And I do like Sogard's defense. His swing selection definitely could use some work from what I've noticed from him in Worcester. He definitely doesn't always have the best judgment on what he should and shouldn't be swinging at. And that's something that comes with some of these players that aren't used to playing in the majors and they need to make some adjustments. He also needs to increase his baseball IQ a little bit in terms of the on-field decisions that he's making and being able to act quickly when it comes to knowing where to throw the ball if it gets hit to him. But overall, he is good defensively. I just want to see him develop a little bit more of that plate discipline and have more recognition of the types of pitches that he should and should not be swinging at. So we'll have to see what happens with the first base situation. But I am very happy with this series win for the Red Sox. Just got to keep the series wins coming. And they just have a tough stretch coming up. I mean, the Tigers, Braves, Mets, none of those are jokes of teams. So got to keep stringing together those wins and earning these series victories. And this was a really solid series that the Red Sox played in Kansas City. So hopefully they can keep that up. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Red Sox and making it your first listen today. I really do appreciate that. For your second listen, be sure to check out the all new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a great show that truly keeps you in the loop on everything going on around the league. So make sure that you check that out next. Like I always say, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.